Hello, and welcome to the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined as always by James St. Charles. James, tell the fine people at home, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah,
Healthy and well.
that's good. That's good to hear. Everyone's healthy in your life. Nothing, no
Yep,
problems.
everyone's healthy, no problems.
Good. Just
Staying, following the rules. That's it.
staying and just enjoying that gaming cruise we talked about.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is the 18th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on YouTube.com and now on SoundCloud and Spotify. Just search for Sidescape. Once a week, we sit down and Skype across 500 miles to talk about the latest video game news, like Gamescom going digital and IGN's Summer of Gaming event, and a main topic like my Animal Crossing New Horizons review / impressions. I got a lot to say. I'm very excited. And at the end of every episode, we slowly build the Sidescape top 20 best games of all time by adding one game at a time. It's my turn to pick this week. I got a game. Don't worry. But before any of that starts, James, I want to hear about what you've been playing on this gaming cruise.
I've only been playing one series.
Ooh.
I'm not talking about Call of Duty. I'm talking about Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
I played Resident Evil 2
Okay.
last
The
week.
remake.
The remake, yeah, not the OG. I played Leon's Story,
Okay.
which is very good.
And you
And then
tried
I
to play
started.
Claire's.
Well, I thought I was like, hey, new game is literally the same as Leon's, and then I was like trying to figure out, wait, what the heck? And then I found there's like an AA route, there's a B route for both of them, and then there's like a route above that, but it's just the same thing. It's just a harder difficulty.
Yeah.
So there's just A and B routes, and the A routes are all the same. It's just whoever you play. The B routes are different though, so I had to go back and play the B, and I got like an hour into it. I was basically just like redoing the first part of A route, which is like getting the medallion.
Yeah.
So did that, but then I didn't finish, so I just decided to play Resident Evil 3 because that came out
Now, we are going to do a review of Resident Evil 3 for next week's episode.
next week. Yeah,
But just your initial impressions of Resident Evil.
it's hard to do initial impressions since I already beat it, so
That's
I have
true.
my impression. So I'm just gonna say nothing.
Okay, cool.
Let's hear your initial impression.
I'm about an hour and a half into Resident Evil 3, which apparently is about halfway done, which is a very scary thought when it is a $60 price tag. I think that's going to be a big thing that we'll talk about next week. That being said, I know Final Fantasy VII is coming out next week, but this game is gorgeous to look at.
Yeah, it's graphic wise, it's a step up
It's beautiful.
from 2.
From 2. And 2 was beautiful as well.
Yeah, 2 is great too.
I really like it. I really like the more combat-focused play than Resident Evil 2. So I enjoy that aspect. I know that's something that maybe you differ on. I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are on Resident Evil 2. But
I like that. I like in 2 the puzzle solving. So
yeah, there's
something that's
not
not as
a
big as
lot of
3.
puzzles in this Resident Evil 3 remake. But I enjoy the Nemesis kind of system from what I'm playing now. I know it gets kind of worse as time goes on, which I've heard about, that he kind of becomes like slow and stupid when he's very scary right now. I was playing yesterday and I ran into a store like after I got the lockpick. And did you go into the store where the Mega Man?
I heard about that. Like he can't go into the store, right?
There's one store he doesn't go into.
Is it like
It's the Mega Man
comics?
store. There's a big Mega Man statue and everything. And you find like one of the gems in there to get the hit pouch. But you go into the store and Nemesis just stands outside the window and he just stares at you the entire time. And it is so freaking creepy. Like just you're looking at this guy and he's just like, and you're like, oh my God, I can see you. And I know you can't come into this building because of video game logic. But
speaking of video game logic, what do you think of him just grappling out and then just landing down in front of you, even though there's no tall buildings around him?
Yeah, it's just like so there was one where like he was literally right behind me, and then I saw him load into like in the air and just fall. Like I watched it happen, and I was like,
the jumping
silly.
over makes sense. Like him jumping over, cool, that's great. But when I see the grapple thing, it's like, yeah, I know he has this little like, but he's not. There's no high buildings. You're in like an open little.
I basically saw him do the T-pose and like drop down in front of me, and it was like okay, and then I died because it was like bullcrap, and then he didn't do it the next time. I was like, all right, that's fair.
What do you think of the new dodge mechanic?
I really like it. I really like the dodge. Did you get like perfect dodges? Where like it goes like,
so yeah. When you get better at it, but then I feel sometimes it's not like sometimes you think you have it nailed down and then it doesn't work for some reason.
I would agree with that.
But I saw people like doing speed runs and it worked every time for them. So maybe I just suck.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe it's like controller wise, it's not as good. I don't know. But it's great because what they did was the zombies are faster.
Yes.
And 2, they're definitely slower. And 3, like I was playing in 2, and I'll be like, okay, I got time, I'm gonna reload, and then it's like they just lunge at you and you're dead, or like you have to like smash A for some reason, and you still can't get away. So, and then you can't use knife or like grenades or flashbangs like you could in 2. You know, where you can like counter.
Yes, I did.
Like they would come against you, and then you would counter with your knife. You just have like an infinite knife now.
Yeah, but you can take more hits as Jill than in the other games.
You take way more hits. There's sometimes you take a hit and you're still fine.
Yeah, you
don't
take any damage.
What?
I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. So I want to backtrack because I think we'll talk more about Resident Evil 3 next week. Obviously, we will. What did you think of Resident Evil 2, the remake?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I wish I played it like back when we were doing our list because it would have been like way high up.
Yeah, I think mine was like 3rd or 4th on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, for top 10.
But I'll say this: I'll be surprised if 3 is even on my top 10 list.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Just because there's so many games coming.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of games.
I already have like there's a good like solid 3 that have come out that
are for sure on there.
But easily on people's top 5. So that there's.
Yeah. Oh, and we got Final Fantasy in like 6 days.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
But then with stuff getting pushed back, it's like kind of worrying.
It's interesting. Yeah, so
which we'll talk about.
Yeah, we will. We're definitely got some news on stuff being pushed back that makes Jake very sad. With Resident Evil 2, obviously it's much more like scary and methodical, like we talked about, right?
Yeah.
In Resident Evil 3, you got 15 bullets and you're ready to go click some heads, but in Resident Evil 2, you got 5. What do you like the Resident Evil 2 like scarcity more than the action-oriented RE3?
I like the 2 scarcity because there was one point I remember in your review where you talked about like you were out of bullets and you just had to run through. That exact same thing happened on my playthrough. Like I was just out of bullets, I had to get to the next section, and then I was able to get like, because at first I was like, damn, I got like 90 bullets, and then you literally go through 90 bullets.
Yeah.
Because there's sections where you literally have to, or you'll die.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't run past, and then in this game you can dodge. Mm-hmm. You can dodge a lot of stuff, and you don't have to like waste as much ammo. Yeah,
I liked that in Resident Evil 2. I think I will like Resident Evil 2 more than Resident Evil 3 in the long run. But yeah, I really like in Resident Evil 2 that moment of like, you have to walk down this hallway and you have to kill that zombie. And like when you shoot him 3 times in the head, he falls. And then he gets back up and you're like, I can't waste this much ammo. Like you're stressed out about like what you're doing and you know you have to do it. And the knife doesn't really do much. Like it's very much a deterrent.
And then it breaks. Yep. So it's like, and then sometimes you like, is it worth getting it back? Is it worth an inventory space?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just take the grenade because it can clear out. So I don't know.
Yeah. God, I'm glad you got to play Resident Evil 2 though. You finally did that. So what else?
It was 8 hours. It's
quick.
But pretty quick. But then it's like if I play the other story, that adds on probably another 5-6 hours. So
who's scarier?
It's a full length.
Mr. X or Nemesis?
Mr. X is 10 times scary.
Yeah, dude, that guy's scary as shit.
He's like a true tyrant. Like Tyrant is the mob class, but it's. And then people were like, "Oh, I remember in 3 it was way scarier," and I was just like, he's about the same. Like he does like the similar stuff. So it's just more action oriented. That's the difference between 3 and 2, the original 3 and 2.
The first portion of Nemesis is horrifying.
Yes.
Like where I am now, it's like, oh my god! Like I just got past like into the subway station, and I think I'm clear of.
Yeah, so you got past the part where he was like rocket launchering you and everything.
No, I have not seen the rocket launcher.
Really?
Yeah.
You just said you got back in the subway for the second time.
I'm just back in the subway for the first time.
Oh, never mind. You're way early then.
Yeah, so I think I'm
okay.
I've got like 3 or 4 hours left of the game. I'm going in every nook and cranny. But
gotcha.
Very excited to talk more about that next week. One thing that I have been playing, and we will talk about it a lot this episode, is I even wrote down on the doc, I have been playing a disgusting amount of Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've reached about 55 hours. And it is gross. A lot of hours. And that's all I'm going to say on it for now, because we will get back to Animal Crossing New Horizons for the review impressions thing. But let's talk about the news, James. Okay.
Wait, what about the one thing you downloaded?
Oh, yeah. And I wanted to actually ask you this question before we moved on. What are you looking forward to playing this week, since we're on this gaming cruise?
Final Fantasy 7.
But until Final Fantasy 7, you got a week before.
Why doesn't it come out? Like, everyone's physically releasing it.
I know.
And then it's just like, oh, we got a street day. We got a... Doesn't make sense. The pre-download is already available.
The pre-download is downloading way faster than normal, like way earlier than normal.
Yeah.
Usually it's 2 days before, but people already like have it fully downloaded.
It's a week before. Yeah, it was like they had it on Friday.
Do you think they just drop it in this week and it's like, hey, it's out for anybody that?
I think they will do like a day before.
Yeah.
Like I could see them doing like, oh, we're gonna do it Thursday at 9 or something.
I could see something like that, like an early.
That being said, like it's Japanese and Japan are really strict on the predate stuff.
Yeah.
But that being said, it's like they were just like, oh, we're preemptively like logistics wise.
Yeah, for supply chain, which we will talk a lot about in a little bit. I downloaded Sunset Overdrive on Game Pass, which is an awesome Insomniac game that from the early Xbox One, which I'm very excited to play again.
Actually, you know what I have been playing? I've been grinding out multiplayer on Warzone.
Yep.
Just to level up the guns for Battle Royale, because it's really easy. Just like go in there, get 30 kills, and then you leveled up your M4 or your sniper or something like that. You want to
just get all the attachments.
It's just 2 maps, but it's like 2 maps and then all the game types that they have there, like regular team deathmatch, domination, all those. That's fun.
And it's like a free weekend for.
I don't know if it's just a trial. It doesn't say like it doesn't have like a time.
I wonder if they'll just leave it open like that to try to get people to buy the game.
That's what it is. Like after every game, it's like purchase it.
Yeah, please buy. It's like the Battle Pass. I hate that. After every game we finish now of Warzone, it goes, buy the Battle Pass. 9 days left.
In-game ads for the game.
I'm not buying Battle Pass.
That's the new thing.
Okay, let's talk about the news because we got to start with the saddest news of them all. James, I want to take a moment of silence. Okay. The Last of Us 2 delayed indefinitely. This comes from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku. The much anticipated post-apocalyptic adventure game, The Last of Us 2, or Part 2, will be delayed indefinitely due to the coronavirus pandemic, publisher Sony said today in a Twitter update that reads as follows. Update, SIE has made the difficult decision to delay the launch of The Last of Us Part 2 and Marvel's Iron Man VR until further notice. Logistically, the global crisis is preventing us from providing the launch experience our players deserve. The game, which had been previously scheduled for a May 29th release, is nearly ready and done, a Naughty Dog developer told Kotaku this afternoon. This decision was made for logistic and economic reasons. And then this is from their Twitter statement. The good news is we're nearly done with the development of The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog said in a statement this afternoon. However, even with us finishing the game, we are faced with the reality that due to the logistics beyond our control, we couldn't launch The Last of Us Part 2 in our satisfaction. We want to make sure that everyone gets to play The Last of Us Part 2 around the same time, ensuring that we do everything possible to prevent the best experience for everyone. This meant delaying the game until such a time where we can solve these logistic issues. James?
Yes.
What are your thoughts about the very sad delay?
It's probably distribution issues.
Yeah, I think it's definitely supply chain.
Yeah, it's like all the distributors were like, hey, we can't actually meet these requirements to sell to these stores because the stores are closing.
Mm-hmm.
Best Buy, even some Best Buys have stopped doing like the curbside pickup. Mm-hmm. GameStops are shutting down. Like so that's a big chunk of money that's being lost.
Well, yeah,
people who want physical copies of this game. I feel like some people want collector stuff. Or
I think that's a big thing, and I think also too. You and I live in, obviously we're in California, so we have a lot better internet than a lot of the nation. And I know that, which is funny because our internet's still garbage, but a lot of people have trouble downloading a large game anyways. Yeah. And they obviously The Last of Us is such a story-driven game that they want that to be like experienced by everybody that wants to be able to experience it without a spoiler. Like I know there's a lot of theories going around like maybe they're not completely done with the game or not satisfied with how it's playing. I don't believe that at all.
I don't believe that either.
I really think if you had everything nailed down, you'd want to get this game out during this, like, we're all at home and just want to play video games time. But obviously, they can't do that with the satisfaction because this game is going to sell 10 million copies. Like, it's going to be disgustingly huge, digital and physical copies. Yeah, it's just really sad. But I totally get why they're doing it. And I think take all the time you need. This is only going to make The Last of Us Part 2 better.
I think it was smart of them too to say indefinite because if they said another date, it'd be like, what the hell? What are you like? If you just say indefinite, it'd be like, okay, they're just gonna wait till everything is back up and running. Which even in China right now, like stuff is still not up back and running. Even though they say like, oh, everyone's back to work running factories. No, they're only making the essential stuff right now in their factories. They're not actually doing technology stuff. They're still like worried and just doing every little thing.
Yeah. I was seeing my mic move a little bit, and I was making sure there was no like noise coming in.
I haven't heard anything.
Okay, cool. I know Maddie's watching Westworld next door, so I was like, wonder what that is.
Gotcha.
Sorry, back to this. So this is the weird thing I think about this statement. Obviously, Iron Man VR was coming out like 2 weeks before.
Yes.
So that's also been delayed. Camouflage's Iron Man VR, which sucks, but logistic reasons, and that game was also delayed. A month after this game comes out, or was going to come out, is Ghost of Tsushima. they have not delayed Ghost of Tsushima.
I see. That's they haven't delayed like right now. We're like I'd say we're at peak of like this crisis, and they haven't they didn't delay Final Fantasy 7,
Right?
and they just bumped ahead their schedules. Like, oh, we're just gonna ship it out early. Ghost of Tsushima, it's like interesting because it's just like, do they just like take the hit?
Right? Like, do they?
Or
is it because it's not The Last of Us that they're like, oh, we'll see how it does? But then Marvel's Iron Man VR got delayed.
It might be one of the things where they actually can't delay it because they have to meet certain deadlines too.
I guess. I don't know. That's the weird thing. And I'm wondering if we're going to hear about that in a month, right? Because it's a month out, and if everything continues in this trajectory of not being very handled.
It's different when you're like you have a Japanese company versus Naughty Dog, who's based here in California, and then but they all work for a Japanese. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, because Ghost of Tsushima is made in Washington at Sucker Punch. So
okay,
yeah.
So it's not just entirely Sony controlled Japan, like it's telling everyone.
And PlayStation's run out of San Mateo, like it's now run
PlayStation there. America.
No, PlayStation.
Or the actual PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, their whole like main divisions here, which is crazy to think about. Sony obviously ran in Japan, but
Sony Japan, yeah. But Sony, it's not separate though, is it?
No, it's well, SIE is the Sony Interactive Entertainment, which is run out of San Mateo.
Yeah, no, but it's still Sony parent company.
Yeah.
Controlling, so that's all. Like, if Sony Japan parent company is like, hey, we're taking these hits, we need you to get the game out there, or is it like, okay, we actually have no way to get the game out there, you guys have to make the call. And then it's interesting, where is the distribution like taking place? Is it like being made here in California and getting distributed out?
Right.
Like, that's what I was like, where's their supply chain for like the games, actually physical games getting made?
And that's probably the issue. What the issue is. It's just supply chain.
Is it like in China? And it's like, oh crap, yeah, of course not. They're not gonna be able. Yeah. But I doubt it though, because Final Fantasy 7 was.
Yeah, but they may have already had that printed and like ready to go.
Yeah, they probably did.
So that's what I'm thinking. And I know that there's to be scarcity on that anyways. I actually thought about buying a disc of it just because like it could be rare one day, but it's like, fuck it. I don't want to do that. All right. Next news story. Bethesda will not hold a digital replacement for its E3 show. This just comes from Pete Hines, Senior Vice President of Global Marketing Communications at Bethesda's Twitter. Pete Hines is great.
Yeah, Pete Hines is great.
Yeah. Given the many challenges we're facing due to the pandemic, we will not host a digital showcase in June. We have lots of exciting things to share about our games and look forward to telling you more in the coming months. Nothing crazy, just kind of a little blurb. I'm curious what other companies will kind of steer away from presentations. And we'll be talking a lot more about that in 2 news stories with IGN. So
it sounded like they initially were going to.
Yes, they said they were.
But then they're probably like, we're just going to be spending too much time to make the showcase that we could just spending that time to actually games.
And I'm sure they're trying to figure out.
That's the trade-off.
Like PlayStation, they're trying to figure out their supply chain. And maybe no Bethesda game comes out this year. Like maybe Wolfenstein was going to be surprise dropped, and then now they're like, we can't promise that because we don't know.
We did have a Bethesda game come out this year.
Oh yeah, Doom.
Doom
Eternal, great game.
I was like,
you're right. Probably a game of the year contended. You're right. But I'm thinking like for the fall, like the next kind of wave, and I'm curious. So I think we're going to hear a lot of console stuff that maybe gets delayed. If PlayStation can't get The Last of Us Part 2 out, they may have some problems getting a PS5 out.
They're going to get it out, but it's just timing wise, worldwide. This is a worldwide global game, so it's just like
no, it makes sense.
They're doing. Should they have pushed it as far as like what Cyberpunk did? No, because it's like they were just planning on like, hey, we're gonna be done.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh shit, we're gonna be sitting on a game for a while and it not actually like being out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good for a company. But I understand, like they understand their logistics better than we do, so they're probably factoring numbers like, hey, if we wait, we're gonna make more money, which is what they want.
And I think that shows the confidence they have in The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, I mean,
I think they are like, oh, we want to share this 10 with everybody, kind of thing.
Also, what about the show? Like they could be working on that in the meantime. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
You have people that can still like do work.
Yeah, still working on the show and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait for that show. Speaking of shows, Gamescom to be held at least in a digital format in August. This comes from Matthew Handerhan at gamesindustry.biz. Gamescom, and I will read part of the story. We'll talk about it a little bit. Gamescom is significantly expanding its digital presence in 2020 ahead of its crucial review in May that will determine whether a physical show can happen in August. In a joint statement released today, the venue Colmenessi, I think is how you say it. I was reading about it earlier. Colmenessi, which is a German company, and I lost my spot. And German Industry Association Game gave their clearest indication so far that the physical Gamescom event is in doubt due to the spread of COVID-19, obviously. The two entities said that an evaluation will be made in mid-May about whether Gamescom will take place on-site in Cologne, Germany in August. If an off-site or an on-site event is possible, there will be more information at the stage with regard to which changes need to be made in order to fully ensure the health of all visitors, the statement read. This has been arranged with the largest exhibitors, therefore all Gamescom plans are continuing at full speed. So right now, they're planning for it to be physical and on-site.
Actual be physical, yeah.
However, a large amount of attention is now being paid to the digital aspects of Gamescom, such as Opening Night Live. Jeez, I'm all over the place. That's the show that's hosted by Jeff Keighley. Format introduced last year. Colmenessi and Game said that the digital footprint will be significantly expanded and new modules added as doubts linger about the validity of public events in 2020. As such, Gamescom will be held at least in a digital format from August 25th to August 29th, even if a physical show is not deemed possible in mid-May. The same is true for DevCom Developer Conference, which is held between August 2nd and 24th. So that's kind of what we'll read. What do you think? Gamescom, digital. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. I think it's a good effort by a lot of companies to realize that, hey, we can do a full showcase purely digital, not have any physical presence whatsoever. And they're probably like, oh, we're going to make the same amount of money and get the same amount of exposure by just doing digital instead of, renting a hall, getting sure everyone has people like the crowds.
Yeah.
They had one of the biggest wrestling events last night, WrestleMania.
And it was a 2-night event.
And it was no crowd, and it was just so awkward to watch because it's like, damn, the crowd makes it sometimes. So sometimes when you watch a game reveal like E3, it's always great when you hear the crowd reaction.
Yeah.
And it's still okay with digital. Like you watch like a little trailer conference, and that's still hype. So I think it's fine if you tailor it right. But if it's just like one guy talking to no one, and then it gets a little like, I don't know. Don't do it that way. But if you do it right, you have the trailers lined up nicely, have a good interview format, just like original G4 TV, how they used to do it.
Yeah,
just do that for a big event.
Right.
And if they do it well, then it's gonna be like, oh, maybe we can do more because it's not as, so they don't have to do it like just so one time we can do like biannual or something like that.
There's obviously there's a lot of physical shows for video games specifically, but Comic-Cons and everything. Yes. You think this is gonna start limiting how many we have per year?
We'll see.
Like next year, and I'm curious.
You might, because it's one of those things where it's like, if we come out with a vaccine, then it's like, okay, then we can go. But there's definitely probably concerns about it spreading at conventions. This is gonna be a thing that's gonna last for a whole year until we have actual vaccines. But you're right. Could this affect big conventions? I could definitely see that. It's gonna affect a lot of businesses that we're not seeing right now.
Yeah, I know. But something that we will be seeing in June, James, transition, is IGN announces its Summer of Gaming event in June. There's a really cool minute and 50-second video over on IGN where Damon Hatfield, who's one of their hosts, explains kind of what they'll be doing. But this was written by Jonathan Dornbush at IGN. IGN is proud to announce our own Summer of Gaming event, a global digital event set to begin this June to bring you the latest news and impressions around upcoming games and the next generation of console hardware. IGN will be collaborating with a number of partners for the Summer of Gaming event, including 2K, Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco, Amazon, Google Stadia, Twitter, Devolver Digital, THQ Nordic, and more. Expect more details in the coming weeks. This event will include live broadcasts, on-demand programming featuring IGN's editorial coverage of the work of games developers around the world. With E3 2020 canceled, IGN has a suite of programming planned to kick off in early June. It includes publisher presentations with IGN pre- and post-discussions, remote developer interviews, hands-on demos, and preview impressions, gameplay, and news segments recapping the biggest announcements.
That's is smart.
Amazing.
Yeah, very smart. It's almost like if I was in that boardroom when they were deciding this, it'd be like, this is a no-brainer. You have one of the biggest gaming events not happening. this is where we do our exact same thing except make it better.
We make us the event rather than covering
you make
the event.
us the event, so you have to come to us for the information, and you're gonna come here, and then like it's just gonna blow up IGN. I feel like that's
Which
great.
Is awesome. Yeah, I think
and then
it's really cool.
it seems like they just reached out to all their partners, and be like, hey, come to us. We do it, and it's like, oh,
Square
okay.
Enix was doing E3 presentations last 2 years. They're doing their show here.
Yeah, this is literally like they just took E3 stuff and just made it their own, which is so great. It's like, oh, purely
2K,
digital.
like that's huge. Sega. I mean, I think this is awesome. It's very smart, and I don't think I have it in this article, but they talked about it's going to be available digitally everywhere that you want to watch it.
They're probably getting inside scoops. They're getting exclusives. They're gonna get.
They're gonna get game reveals. Like
so it's probably gonna be a thing. It's probably gonna be Summer of Gaming.
Yep, I think it's really cool, and I hope it continues. I think this is an awesome idea. Obviously, we know E3.
You think they get Jeff? Can you imagine? It's like, hey, Jeff, can you come over and just like talk and interview for us?
Yeah, I'm curious now. Like with Bethesda not doing their event, maybe they're part of this. I think we're going to get some big announcements. I wonder who else links up with this, or even if like Microsoft's not a part of it, if they coordinate with IGN, be like, hey, we're going to do our show here.
You don't think Microsoft will do their own thing?
No, they will. They 100%.
Okay.
But I'm saying like if they coordinate, like Microsoft's like, IGN, I know you're doing the Summer Gaming event. We're going to have our show this day. Like if you want to, like our post stuff can be all with you. Like it'd be kind of cool to see a lot of coordination, and
that's what I think you're gonna see. This is a good thing to just throw out there, be like, hey, these are the companies we have, and then the company will be like, oh, you have all those companies. All right, I want to be on there. How do I get on there?
Right, and they're all
maybe like an indie company
companies.
can
and Devolver Digital who does their own presentation.
Epic or something.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome. I really was happy to hear about this news. I think it's very cool.
I like that people are still like just like not happy with E3 and like, okay, E3 being done, we're not gonna just sit on our sit on our hands, just do nothing. We're gonna actually make another event. So this is pretty great.
Yeah,
especially for us. It's saving like a traditional thing for gamers, which is E3, but now we can look at something else.
Right. Yeah, and you and I mean,
we're giving
the past few years is watch E3 conferences together, and it's hype moments
it's amazing.
And stuff, and so
it's
fun to continue that.
And even if you don't get the crowd, it's still fine.
It's fine.
I just want to see the games.
Yeah. I want to see the games. I want to see Keanu Reeves out on stage again. That's all I want to see.
Do you think we'll see anything about Cyberpunk?
There'll be a commercial. There'll be a commercial.
Like another little trailer.
Speaking of commercials, do not watch the new Final Fantasy VII trailer that dropped. Like
I saw the final trailer. Like I didn't see it. I saw that it was like available. I didn't watch it though.
Don't watch it. Apparently, like even though like the game came out, it spoiled like a bunch of the new stuff and like the story, which I don't know the story of FS7. So like I'm like, no.
Yeah. It's probably better if you don't.
So
especially if they change it, because then if you did those stories, people would be. I don't think they're gonna change it.
I don't think they'll change much. They'll add a lot. Okay. This is, I think, the most important news story of the week. I'm going to be honest. This is the most crazy, bonkers thing that started out as a rumor where I went, that'll never happen. And then all these people were like, no, like confirming reports that this
Did we talk about like possible like Mario ports before? I feel like we did. And we were like, maybe.
No, you talked about them coming to PC, you madman.
Of course I did. It's going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
You'll see.
Nintendo reportedly planning Mario remasters for Switch to celebrate Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary. This is collected by Adam Bankhurst at IGN. In honor of Super Mario's 35th anniversary, Nintendo is said to be getting ready a big collection, a celebration that will include plans to re-release most Super Mario's 35-year back catalog this year. The Super Mario Party was set to be revealed during E3 2020, which has since been canceled. Nintendo is now said to be reviewing its plans and deciding if it will how it will hold an event in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Eurogamer has been confirmed parts of VGC's report, and its sources have indicated that Super Mario Galaxy is indeed one of the games being readied for remaster, alongside a couple of other 3D Mario favorites. Eurogamer also said that a new Paper Mario is in fact in the works, and that a deluxe edition of the Wii U Super Mario World 3D World will arrive on Switch with an array of new levels. Gamatsu has heard similar reports and has adds that Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine will also be brought to the Nintendo Switch. If these reports are accurate, and assuming that the games will not be delayed due to COVID-19 or other factors, Nintendo Switch owners will be able to look forward to the following Mario titles in 2020. This is where it just seems ridiculous.
Yeah.
Super Mario 64, remastered apparently, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario 3D World, a new Paper Mario game, and then other 3D Mario titles. Crazy. Then there's an update to the story. It came, I think, like the next day that this broke. Further details have emerged in the ongoing reports that Nintendo will re-release many Mario games for the series' 35th anniversary. VGC has added to its report that Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy will be treated as a special anniversary collection rather than straight ports to the Switch. Its own sources also support earlier reports about the port of, this is a lot of the word port, the port of Super Mario 3D World, which is allegedly set to be a deluxe edition with new levels and content. In addition, VentureBeat's own sources claim that a Paper Mario game in development intend to return to the series' roots as it was seen on the N64 and GameCube era.
Woo.
This would suggest a refocused effort on the RPG design, which would make sense considering the criticism faced the 3DS and Wii U entries, which is more involved platforming features. That's a lot.
That's a whole lot of Mario.
James, I got one question. Do you believe it?
How do you get Galaxy, which is heavily Wii nunchuck play, on working on the Switch?
They remastered it for the Wii U.
But a lot of the puzzles won't work the same. That's like a lot of the stuff. So like, how do they?
A lot of that though.
Yeah, I was like, how do you do that? Because it was a lot of like directional grab and pull, and that's why
Super Mario Galaxy is probably my favorite Mario game.
It's a lot of like it's on a lot of top 10 lists I've seen.
Good.
Yeah.
I think I want this to be true so badly, and we actually talked about last week, kind of in regards of Animal Crossing, that we really didn't know what Nintendo had left like for this year. I assumed it was Breath of the Wild 2 to compete with consoles. That might not be the case anymore. If this is there, and not only that, it's a collection where they say Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy are all in one box.
Yeah.
That's insane.
There's so many games here. It's just like, are you serious? All this coming out? Like, I don't know.
It's almost too good to be true.
Yeah. This is like a big like I don't know. We've had leaks where it's just like, it doesn't happen, and it actually happened. Right. So that's not gonna like count it out.
This story broke on like Twitter. Like someone tweeted it out, and it was like, I literally looked at it, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, who would believe this? And then
it's like the Nemesis can go into the.
Yeah,
but he can't.
That's effort. But he can. So
I don't know.
But now everyone's confirming the reports. Like 4 or 5 sites are like confirming what other sites are saying. Like, oh, you have a source that's saying this. Now we have a source too. I think
how does like big. This is a big thing. So I can see how it can get leaked because it's just so much.
It's just.
But
it feels like
it's too much.
Like too perfect storm of like, what Mario games do you want remastered? And someone's like, well, obviously I want this, this, and this. And they're like,
I want this Mario game. I want this Mario game.
Like, why would they remake Sunshine? Like, people want to forget Mario Sunshine. They're going to remake it? I don't know.
Make it better?
But make it better. That's going to be tough because it's not good. You're going to have to add a lot. I don't know. It just seems like too good to be true.
I mean, you've had like Legend of Zelda remake stuffs or ports. So it's not out there.
Yeah, but this, for me...
Remakes and ports,
for me, this would be like, okay... If, like, you know, what is it, 2 years from now would be the 35th anniversary of Zelda or whatever. And they're like, okay, you're getting a
Ocarina of Time,
completely remastered Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Wind Waker, all coming to the Switch in one bundle. And we're remaking Skyward Sword with no motion controls.
Okay, when you say it like that, it's like, damn, that's a lot.
Like, that's a lot to just throw out there.
Also, it's a lot to just like, hey, it's coming out this year, by the way.
Right?
Like, what?
And like, that's almost the point. It's like, that might be too much Mario for...
I feel like each of these games could take like a year if you would like properly remaster it and get it working. Like, there's a lot in each of them. Especially Sunshine has a lot of... Galaxy's probably like the hardest. Like, because you have to rework every single
puzzle,
grab type puzzle with the nunchuck. So
the nunchuck.
That's less believable.
Yeah,
3D World, all the newer Mario's...
3D World, I believe.
Okay,
I believe
easy.
100%
Yeah.
3D World, and I even believe Mario
That's
64.
Easy.
I think Mario 64,
64
is being remade.
Okay. Yeah.
They've done it before for the 3DS or for the DS. It's on 3DS or DS, doesn't matter. They remade it, and I believe that it is being remade for Switch.
Yeah, and there's some that are like easy, like Super Mario RPG. They could easily do that one. That's another like 3D amazing. Mario game.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting story. I'm sure we'll hear about it very soon now that everything's leaked out. Now, speaking of Nintendo, James.
Wait, before you speak about Nintendo, I forgot. There was one piece of news we did not talk about. We did not add to the list.
Okay.
We got to talk about it, though. It's about one specific game company, and they did something really shitty. And Jason Schreier leaked it, which is great, because he has really informed. It's about Gearbox.
Yeah.
Gearbox did something really shitty, which was they didn't pay their developers what they said they were going to do. They were going to get bonuses if Borderlands 3 did great. It did amazing. It's the best out of any Borderlands game ever.
Sales-wise.
And they decided last week, yeah, it's last week. Yes. Last week, that they weren't going to give them the bonuses at all. That they decided, like, it was like, oh nope, you're just not going to get them. And like a lot of developers had planned on it, and I feel like that's a bad look.
Yeah.
But Gearbox has been shit lately because their CEO is shit.
Yep.
And if I were the developers, I'd be like, hey, look at what Epic's doing here. They're like giving money out for games.
Yeah.
We're developers. We could just leave and make our own game company and say fuck you to Gearbox, because that's ridiculous right there.
Yeah, I didn't read much about it. I didn't realize that's what they were doing.
I wish it blew up more, because it was just like a tweet storm by Jason Schreier, and then like I saw one article, and no one was like, oh well, yep, that's Gearbox. I'm like, what?
That's terrible. If
that happened at any other company, it'd like literally blow up. Like, hey, you're promised bonuses, but in fact you're not getting any of these, and they're like really big bonuses too for doing well, beating deadlines.
Yeah, I saw Freddie Wong tweet about it.
Yeah, he did too as well, because he was pissed.
He hates Gearbox.
Yep.
Yeah, that's terrible. I didn't realize that was what was happening.
Yeah, and then it was just decided, like, it was like they had a board meeting, like, oh no, we're just gonna like keep that money.
Jeez.
Like, what? And then they made a lot. I don't know the exact figures, but they definitely made a lot. And then they double dip recently because they just started selling on Steam, so
yeah,
they're making even more.
Fuck, that's horrible. Right?
It's just, and I feel like when you're one of those big developers and that happens, that's not a good look for me. No. Let's say you're an aspiring developer, like, why would I want to work at Gearbox if they're doing this shit to their employees?
That's horrible.
I'd rather work for like Valve or Bethesda or somewhere where they're actually treating their employees better.
Speaking of, did you see this about Sony? Just now that we're talking about like money and what companies are doing, Sony is paying all of their employees their standard rate, and I don't know if it's like hourly employees, but everyone like their salary. Mm-hmm. And then even if they can't do their job at home, they're still being paid full salary while working it from home.
That's good.
And they're giving $1,000 stipend to every employee to buy basically like material to increase their productivity at home.
Ooh, that's a very smart thing. Actually, I was reading somewhere where they were like giving them. Oh no, we were talking about this. It was Google Stadia with Destiny.
Yep.
Yeah, where they were giving their employees like high end laptops and stuff to like be able to work from home, and they're like, oh, we actually can work from home, and that's what I'm gonna feel like a lot of companies are gonna realize, like, hey, what Moon Studios was doing, we could actually do.
Yeah. Very cool.
Cool stuff. But fuck you, Gearbox.
But fuck Gearbox. Okay, James, it's time. It's the moment we've all waited for. I'm going to talk to you about my Lord and Savior, the man that owns me.
Timestamp here.
Timestamp here. 39 minutes. I'm writing it down right here. 39 minutes and 12 seconds. Okay. Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, I think I've had an interesting relationship with this game where I think about 4 weeks ago, we were laughing about how I would never play Animal Crossing. This is ridiculous. I played it on the 3DS and it got mad at me because I wasn't.
You hated this game before it came out. You were like, no.
Then the world said, you are not allowed to go outside, Jake. And I went, okay, but I want to go outside now. And then they're like, well, why don't you go live on an island with animals? And I went, all right, I'll do it. So I bought Animal Crossing New Horizons. It was getting a lot of great reviews from everyone that had it beforehand for about 2.5 weeks. So I put about 50 something hours into Animal Crossing New Horizons. And holy shit, James, I love this game.
50 hours, and how far would you say you're like from completing the game?
So okay, I have rolled credits, which means I have gotten the KK Slider musician, who's the dog that plays the guitar. God, it sounds like a drug trip when I talk about the game. A raccoon owns me money, and the dog that plays the guitar came to my island. But so KK Slider, who's the musician, he has come to my island to play his concert, and the credits rolled as like that's like I've completed the development part of the island. Like that's like the goal of the game, right? Now, of course, now the goal is to live your best life, and I'm living my best life, James.
Yes.
I have been given the app that allows me to create paths, which is a big deal. And I can terraform. But I want to start from the beginning. So I think that Animal Crossing New Horizons, obviously, if you don't know, it's essentially a life simulator. It is a quirky, cute life simulator where you live on an island that you kind of run and maintain while you owe this raccoon a lot of money. But it's a life simulator. You build your house, you acquire items throughout the game that you can make like furniture and put stuff in like your walls. And then you're also adding stuff to like the outside of the island while harvesting, catching fish, and just kind of, it's very relaxing. Opposed to Doom Eternal last week, which is just like the biggest brutal murdering game. And yeah, like I'm going to rip the head off a dude. This is like, I'm going to walk around and fish and talk to the snow leopard that lives on my island. So I'm in love with Animal Crossing New Horizons. It is leaps and bounds my game of the year thus far. And I am curious to see how, when life slowly returns to normal, how much I will still play Animal Crossing. But as of right now, it is part of my daily routine where I wake up, I pour myself a cup of coffee, I sit down on my couch and I boot up Animal Crossing, and I, walk around and I am harvesting my trees and gathering my fruit. I'm waiting for the Nook's Cranny, the shop to open so I can then sell everything, and trying to find like which tree has a piece of furniture in it, and trying to pay off my debts and expand my island. And it is very much the first like hour and a half of every morning.
What's your favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing to do right now, I think, is just gathering as much money as possible. And I'm really trying to make my island look beautiful. Like, I have not touched my house much, but I'm trying to make like the actual island exterior look beautiful and like get everything situated how I want it to be. A big thing I know in this game is you have the ability to really customize where buildings go on your island, and you can move stuff around, add bridges, and like I said, I don't have much experience with old Animal Crossing games, so this might be something that's in all of them. But
I've only played the original, and that definitely wasn't a thing.
That wasn't. I know
everything was set in stone.
Yeah,
so just random villagers.
So like you get villagers, but before you get a villager, Tom Nook basically is like, hey, someone's gonna come move to our island. Here's like this like item that allows you to plot the land where you want this house to go, and so you go over and you put it down, and like that's where the house then is. Same with the stores, same with the museum, and then you have the ability, if you don't like the placement, you can pay Tom Nook a shitload of bells, and he will move. You can then move the house.
Okay.
Yeah, and God, does this guy just gouge you for every goddamn penny? He's like, oh, you want to move the museum to make it better for everybody? And you're like, yeah. And he's like, great. Pay me $50,000 now. And you're like, oh, okay, Tom Nook, I'm sorry. And he goes, and remember, you still owe me $500,000. And you're like, okay, or bells. And you're like, I'm sorry. Yeah. But the things I want to talk about is I think there's like a very fun variety of things that you can do, obviously. But the customization is really fun, and adding, like, I've added like a garden, and I have a nice town square that I've built up, and have like a little section of my island that's like my entire neighborhood for all of my residents, I guess, the neighbors. Mm-hmm. That being said, everything is very random, which is probably my least favorite part of the game, is the randomness of it, and the daily nature that everything rotates per day, right? So your shop's inventory changes per day, the clothing inventory changes per day. But the residents that you get are kind of random, and they will just kind of come to your island, or you can find them and invite them. But I've been kind of stuck with some just losers, just losers on my island. Just bums, these annoying people. I got like 2 or 3 that I really like. I got a little koala named Ozzy, and he's very cute. He just talks about eating food all the time, and I'm like, I respect that. I got an elephant named Axel, and he's just all about weightlifting. And he's like, what's the greatest way to wake up in the morning? Just get some reps in and a protein shake. And you're like, all right, Axel, I see you. And then I got Bianca. And James, I have a lot of rivals in this world. I have a lot of enemies. I understand that. Bianca is my greatest enemy. Bianca is a white tiger. And Bianca wants to be a fashion queen. She wants to rule the internet with her celebrityness. And she is just annoying. And here's the worst part about Bianca. Bianca, I'm her best friend. And that just pisses me off. God. And I can't get her to leave. I'm neglecting her left and right. I'm not talking to her. And she will not leave my island. And she still comes up. She's like, oh, I heard you expanded your house. Here's a nice piece of furniture. And you're like, you're just too nice, Bianca. But it's such a fun game. And like, I think what's really fun about it is so relaxing, especially like in this time where like I want to do is focus on something else, because
get your mind off what's happening.
Yeah, yes. Like the coronavirus obviously is very stressful. It's very unknown, where no one really knows what we're doing. It's fun to have this game that I can kind of almost be transported and like focus on, like, today I'm going to chop all the trees and gather all the wood. I'm going to harvest this. I want to build this item. But I think also there's other ways that you can obtain items. You can go to other people's islands and shop in their stores. So Hunter, who's on the Side Escaping show with gameplay, he has an island that I've been to a few times to buy stuff from his shop. I bought a wizard robe in my shop, and I texted him. I was like, you want to come to my island? And he's like, I can't make it today. I was like, I'll buy it to you and I'll send it to you. Like, and I mailed him a wizard's robe. And then there's different types of currency. So there is the normal bells that spend in all the games. Then there is something called Nook Miles, because Tom Nook, he's developed his own currency now. He's in charge of his own.
Does he have credit cards?
His own credit card system, basically.
Oh my god!
And there's a Nook Miles terminal in his area, and you gather Nook Miles by completing tasks and challenges. So like it'd be like build a new room, and like you get 5,000 Nook Miles or whatever. But then there are daily challenges, just like a Destiny-like game, right? And instead of like kill 40 scorpion bugs or whatever, it's like you go catch 5 fish, and you do that, and you get Nook Miles. It's talk to 3 villagers, you get Nook Miles. And with the Nook Miles, you can buy plane tickets to go to procedurally generated islands and gather resources or furniture. Or I like how you're like on the border of laughing at me as I explain this.
Yeah, no, it's literally like an airline miles credit card.
It is an airline miles credit card. Or you can buy like some like.
So you're building up frequent flyer miles by doing certain things, or like buying certain things that you can in real life.
Yeah. And it's just another way for Tom Nook to just remind you that he is in charge. Okay.
He's the bank.
He's the bank. He's the man. I mean, the other night I was sleeping in my room and I heard a little knock on my door, a little rat tat tat, and 2 raccoons walked in with a baseball bat and they said, "Hey, don't forget how much money you owe us. I saw you building bridges. You owe us money." And they walked out.
You got some money.
Okay, I'm sorry, Timmy and Tommy. But it's a very whimsical game. It's very fun. I think the one thing that my biggest complaint would be like if someone's like watching this, like I'm on the fence with Animal Crossing. If you watch videos and you're like, I'm going to hate this game, you're probably going to hate this game. I think I was won over because I wanted to be transported. But if you don't want to play that type of like life sim game, you will not enjoy Animal Crossing. Like it's not going to win you over. It's not going to do anything like miraculous, right? That being said, the beginning of the game is very slow because you start with literally nothing on your island.
Yeah.
You don't have a shop. You don't have a clothing store. You don't have X, Y, and Z. So I did do some time traveling and like advancing a day to like build this shop or to build this bridge. And it's like just to like gather as much stuff. And now I'm not even time skipping. I mean, I've done like the last week I haven't.
You use the proper term. Save scumming.
Save scumming, exactly.
That's the thing I like.
Scummed this calendar. But that being said, I had to do that, I think, to like kind of build everything. And now I think also being part of this game, right now you can see it has taken Twitter by storm. It is the internet right now because everybody's playing Animal Crossing. And it's cool to be part of that community.
Do you think the updates are going to basically like keep people playing the game if they have big event stuff?
So they have an event right now. It is the Easter event called Bunny Day.
Oh, it is happening.
And Bunny Day is the biggest hunk of bullshit I've ever been a part of. I hate it so much. And I think it's because the game just came out. And I think that like the game came out and it's like, I was getting in my routine of this and now you're kind of adding some stuff I don't want yet. I actually think it's a little overzealous of Nintendo to do it, but I understand why they did it. Because they want to show you like, hey, you just bought this game. We're going to have these events so it'll keep you coming back. But basically like with Bunny Day, there's a little rabbit. His name is Zipper on your island. And he gives you recipes to craft new pieces of furniture out of these eggs that he's hidden around the island. But he has hidden an egg everywhere. You want to go fishing and you're fishing and the little fish is swimming up to you. You're trying to catch this fish. And then an egg pops out. And it's like, no, I'm trying to catch a fish. And you're telling me an egg is in the water? It's horrible.
But that was a thing in the original games, like where like people would come visit your islands on certain days, like like Santa or something. I don't know, like the, or like little like town events that they would.
Yeah,
have.
And so they definitely have done that again, and there are other like people that will come and visit. Like there's this like lizard that's really into bugs, and he comes and he's like a punk rock lizard that like if you catch bugs and sell them to him, he'll buy them for twice as much. They have the turnips. Was that turnips were in the other games, right? Mm-hmm. The stock market, which is STALK, which is hilarious. The stock market for turnips.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and so like you buy them on Sunday, and then you have to try to sell them throughout when they're the highest price throughout the week, and then they go bad by Sunday. So it's just stuff like that to keep you engaged. It's just whimsical. It's fun. It's relaxing. It's joyful. It's not. There's never like we joke about Tom Nook being an asshole, right? But like he's not. He's just a raccoon that's funny drinking a cup of coffee in a room.
He just needs money.
He just needs money. He needs to pay his bills too. And I understand he's got a big cocaine habit. I get it, Tom Nook. I get it. But I think it's just a marvelous game. And I am fascinated to see how long this kind of trajectory of this game goes with everybody playing it. Because obviously this game hit at the perfect time for people.
Yeah, it was. It couldn't have been a better launch.
No.
I would say.
Nintendo's the only company
any other
stoked
point
about
in
COVID.
history, it never would have been this good.
Yeah.
Absolute perfect release.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like love and care put in this game by Nintendo, and I know that there's so much just under the surface that we as a community that playing this game have yet to scratch, which I think is really cool. You know, they've just changed a lot of the trees to cherry blossom trees because it's spring.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so there's like little, like, it's really colorful in the pink and like petals like falling around. But then there's also new recipes to craft stuff out of the cherry blossoms. So people are making like samurai rooms with all the cherry blossom stuff. And it's the perfect game to play while you're watching a movie and you popped your Switch out. And what a perfect game for the Switch to play on your TV and then also on the tablet to go. I love it. I'm so excited to see how much more I play of it throughout the year and maybe beyond. Who knows? I don't know. I know Final Fantasy will take me away from it for a while. But I've been super excited for Resident Evil 3, and I have played more Animal Crossing than that. Like, I've wanted to play Animal Crossing over Doom, which is crazy to me. Like, I loved Doom Eternal, and it will be in the top 5 at the end of the year, but it will be under Animal Crossing. So, yeah, that's my kind of impressions. I guess it's not really a review because like I said, I've only played 50 hours, and that's nothing in Animal Crossing hours.
You barely scratched the surface.
Oh, and another cool thing too is you can, and I know you can do this past Animal Crossing games, but import designs that you've made on like a website. So
that's
I
awesome.
literally am wearing a Kind of Funny t-shirt. I have khakis and I have Converse, and I look like myself. Like I it's the most Jake like avatar I've ever seen. Where it's like it's me. Like,
the best part about it is it's a Nintendo game, so who are you gonna get in trouble by?
Exactly.
Whatever you upload.
I know.
They can't. They're gonna hurt themselves.
They're just gonna hurt themselves.
Hey, you can't put Mario in our game.
Yeah. Hey, no Mario hats. And I know that too. Like Animal Crossing is known for having Nintendo items in it as well. And like, I just can't wait to find a Master Sword. That's all I want.
Oh my God.
I know it's in there.
I forgot. Yeah, they do like those. Yeah, that was original Animal Crossing too. Like little items you can put.
So
do they still have the tree dudes that make noise?
The tree dudes.
There's like little trees that are like, they look like trash cans and you put them in.
Yes, that's what builds your bridges. So like they are in charge of construction.
That thing is always,
it
was fun to just like go in your house and just like touch it and it'll just,
so
fun stuff.
It's really cool, and there's a lot of customization to it. You can basically put like pictures that you put in the game, like posters on your wall. So like I have a bunch of like Star Wars art in my house and stuff. So it's really well designed. It's really cute and fun. And
I played this game religiously with my sister growing up. Like years, and we actually like fully like did everything on it. Built up the museum on the original one. Built mansion. It took forever, but she was definitely way more invested than I was. I just like fishing.
Yeah, fishing's great. Catching bugs.
RNG fishing is great.
And I love the museum. The concept of the museum where you catch all these things and take it in, like can display them. But the museum in this game is huge and expansive, and like all these little nooks and crannies that you can walk into, and like there's just a lot of love and care put into this game, and it's very ambitious and it's very fun. And now I can terraform on my island and like make things bigger, and it's really special. It's great. I really recommend it. I'm very much looking forward to playing.
You have a score? I know you don't like giving scores.
I'm not a big fan of scores, but like honestly, it is high nines. It is
high nines
because I think what it is trying to accomplish, it nails perfectly. Like it is, I think a lot like Doom, right? Like where I think that's why it's so great they came out on the same day and they're vastly different games, but like what they're trying to be, they are almost perfect. They
hit the nail on the head on both genres.
So I think it's great. I'm very excited to see the community grow with it, and of course,
experience more.
That's my review of Animal Crossing: New Horizons. It's a great game. Awesome. I'm very excited to see it. So see where it goes. Okay, James, it's our time. We have one more thing before the show wraps. We are going to talk about the top 20 games of all time list that we are creating at Side Escape. All right, so far we have Super Mario World, Minecraft, The Last of Us, Doom 1993, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Halo, Halo 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, BioShock, Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Witcher 3, and Mass Effect 2.
With plus DLC.
Plus DLC, I'm sorry. They all know. Yeah. All right, the game I'm going to talk about, and I think this might be the first one that might be rejected. Actually, no, you know what? I'm switching it up. Shadow of the Colossus. Shadow of the Colossus is on that list easy.
That's a pioneer game right there.
Yeah, I think like, yeah, go for it. What were you going to say?
No, I'm just saying like that's a you sell it to me because it's your game.
Yeah, so Shadow of the Colossus is it's an old PS2 game that they have remade for PS4. One more day to download it for free on PlayStation Plus. If you have not done it, you are an idiot. Download it for free. Just add it to your library. It's awesome. But the game is basically essentially it's a loose story that you don't fully know what's going on, but you play this character, the Wanderer, and I think I explained a little bit on the show in the past.
Yes, yeah.
But you have this woman in your arms, and you take her into this like shrine to resurrect her, to bring her back from the dead. She was killed because she had like a faded past, and this voice calls to you from up above, and it says, "Go throughout this land and kill these." I want to say it's 14, like demons, essentially colossi. Right?
Yeah, but giant,
and there are
creatures.
statues that are aligned like on the wall. And you go out, and there's the only enemies in the game are these colossi, and there are these 14 ginormous beasts that you almost like figure out the puzzle and how to slay them. It's in a way, it's like you can see this game inspires eventually Demon Souls, Dark Souls, like that kind of like.
Yes, it definitely inspired. It actually, I would say it inspired giant fights. I would say like how do you fight something that's like 100 stories tall, like just something that's so massive in a video game, which is kind of like never really done. It was just like, here's your little 2D sprite, here's it's bigger, here's you, go at it. And then Shadow of the Colossus comes along, it's like, no, you actually don't just like fight it head on.
Yeah.
There's a certain way to beat every single one. Like you climb it and do this. And that was like, it was a puzzle solving, but also like fighting a big thing. And it was absolutely amazing.
And every colossi has like a weak spot, and your goal is to like figure out how to get to the weak spot by either crawling on it or making the colossi do something to fall over, and you have a horse that you're riding.
And then you have like the sword that you could detect
where things are. You have a bone arrow.
I love that. It reminded me of like Lord of the Rings. Like where you have like
it glows, it's like Sting.
Yeah.
But I think at the heart of Shadow of the Colossus is obviously these giant boss fights, and that is what the game is known for. I think it's the fifth or sixth Colossus is my favorite in the game. It's this giant bird, and it like swoops down at you, and the only way that you fight it is that you have to leap at it as it's swooping and try to grab onto it as it flies by you. As it like dives bombs you, and then you go up in the air and like have to stab it while it's flying, and then it drops you back into the water. And that's my favorite. But I think everyone who plays Shadow of the Colossus has a different favorite Colossus, and like
I like one of the I can't remember which one. It was the stone one that's really great where you climb on it.
Like all of them that are made of stone.
Well, there's like the big one that was like there's one that was like,
is it the one that's like like on the cover? He's got like the club.
It's that one, yeah.
Yeah, he's like the main.
That club one, yep.
That's number 3, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. And so
one of the good ones.
Shadow of the Colossus is great because I think it's this big spectacle thing, but at the heart of it is this very disturbing story. And not only is it disturbing in like the way that you don't have a lot of the information, but you get the hints that every time you kill one of these Colossus, there's something sad about it, that something is essentially going wrong, that you are maybe not like doing what's right for the world, the greater good, but only for yourself and the selfish reason. And that's why people are like preventing you, don't want you to resurrect this girl. And there's a very sad story at this. And I love the loose interpretation of like, you don't really know who the girl is. You just know that like he loves her, and maybe it's his sister, maybe it's his girlfriend or whatever. But there's this thought of maybe what you're doing is not right, but you're being told to do so anyways. And it's a video game, so you must do it. And I love that aspect. I mean, BioShock we've talked a little bit about too as well. Like BioShock has similar themes of that, right? And when games kind of take the game sense and make it part of the story, I think is something very special. And Shadow of the Colossus is one of the great games of all time. It has inspired games for generations, and how it.
How do you handle ethical dilemmas? Like how do you situationally do like big fight? The game is literally like just boss battles, and I guarantee there's probably like every single company out there, or game developer that has done big boss battles has taken like notes from this game, or has like used some sort of aspect with it that was used in a PS2 game, in a really OG PS2 game, and applied it to the boss battles. Like it's so many things, so many elements you could find, and it was like unlike anything when it first came out, I'd say. Yeah, and
I still think to this day it holds up. Either the PS2 version, which has a little wonky controls, but I mean you could still play it and be great. And then the PS4 remastered version by Bluepoint is special. Really recommend it. And that's why I think it deserves to be on this list. Either the PS4 or PS2 version. I don't think that it matters which one it is. Because the PS4 is
because even you say at the time the PS2 one is probably the best, but the PS4
and now it's like, but I would tell you, like if someone's like, I gotta play Shadow of the Colossus, how should I play it? Play the PS4 version because it's up-res, it looks beautiful. It's one of those versions too of a game where like they remade it and it looks as good as I remembered it looking when I was a kid playing Shadow of the Colossus. Like, and I think that's like the perfect remaster, right? Where it's like this game looks as good as I remember it looking, and I know it didn't look that good back then. But yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, I think it deserves to be on there. Any gripes from the community?
Nope, I agree.
All right, I almost chose a different game, but I'm going to save it for later.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have many games left.
I know. We're getting down to the end. There's not even an Uncharted on there yet, so there's going to be one.
I can't believe you haven't said an Uncharted.
Uncharted 2 will be on this list. Don't worry, kids. That's a little future spoilers there. All right, folks. Well, that is the 18th episode of the Side Escape Gaming Podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the Animal Crossing's New Horizons impressions. We'll see you next week with our Resident Evil 3 remake review, basically. Once I
Huge
complete
review.
It. James, any final thoughts?
No, just glad that we have games coming out.
Me too. Stay
Could
safe
be a lot
out
worse.
there. And thank you so much for watching. See ya.
See you guys.